There's no doubt that as we enter 2022, there are a ton of great Chromebook options out there to choose from, with 10th, 11th, and 12th gen Intel powered options all being pretty great, and more capable ARM powered devices already in the mix and with more on the way. It just feels like there's a Chromebook out there for everyone at this point. But in the middle of all the Chromebooks that are available and those that are on the way, there's still a choice to be made right now if you're looking to buy a device. And for me, that choice has become really clear, and I'd like to share a bunch of reasons why the ASUS Chromebook Flip CX5400 has become my everyday carry. We unboxed this Chromebook a few months back, so I don't really want to get bogged down by all the specs at this point. But real quick, we're looking at a 14-inch Full HD Chromebook with convertible hinges, a stowed USI pen, 11th gen Core i5, it's fanless, up to 16 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of NVMe storage, and it's all aluminum. It looks great, it performs well in all the ways you want a Chromebook to, but honestly, all of that can be said of a lot of Chromebooks up to this point. So why is it I've put this one in the bag? Let's start with the overall look of this Chromebook. With its clean all aluminum body, the Flip CX5400 isn't winning any awards necessarily for breakthrough in design or anything, but it just looks nice. Closed up on a desk, it oozes quality. The seams are all tight. There's no flex to the bottom part of the chassis. The lack of fan ports makes it all feel cohesive and just thought out. And the aluminum is the right type of texture that keeps fingerprints at bay and still feels really good under the palms, and the chamfered edges around the keyboard polish everything off with some style. So I mean, under the palms, in your hand, in a bag, it just looks great and it feels great in like any scenario. But you can't get by on looks and feel alone. At the end of the day, a laptop is a production device. It needs to perform better than it looks, and the Flip CX5400 is that sort of Chromebook. Sure, the internal specs are nice and speedy. The one we're testing is actually the top end spec with 16 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, but a fast Chromebook isn't exactly the measure of greatness these days. There are tons of fast devices out there, but few pair that speed with all the other niceties you get with this Chromebook. All right, so we've talked about the superb build quality, but the superlatives don't really stop there. The screen on this Chromebook is what I would consider ideal for a high-end Chromebook display. It's over 300 nits of brightness. We measured it at like 330. It's full HD, which is perfect for a 14-inch device. It doesn't add any more pixels on the screen than necessary. And the colors and the viewing angles are really, really good. I mean, I love working on this device, and honestly, the screen is a big part of that. And while I do love screens that get over 400 nits of brightness, I'm just an advocate of simply getting over that 300 mark and making sure things like colors, viewing angles, and contrast are all really good. And this display does all of that stuff, and it just makes for a great experience. All right, so good looks, great feel, a great screen, fast performance. That's just not all you need though. And the Flip CX5400 pairs all of that stuff with a great backlit keyboard and a huge glass trackpad. The keyboard's clicky and responsive, it's fast and accurate to type on, and the trackpad is absolute butter. It feels great, the click is solid, and the combo of the two makes all sorts of input easy. It's enjoyable regardless of what you're doing on it. And ASUS even made sure that with the gray keys on this one that there are no issues in seeing the characters in bright lighting situations. It's been a problem on other laptops and other Chromebooks up to this point. It's not one here. Okay, so now we have good looks, great power, a solid display, comfy inputs. I mean, what else is there? Well, for starters, with the rise of USI Stylus capabilities on Chromebooks, some sort of pen input is a nice thing to have. And not only does this device have USI ability, it has a stowed recharging pen that fits right in the back of it. And as I've said many times before, the best pen that you can have is the ones you've got on you. And so while you can opt for a nicer overall USI pen if you want to with this one, there's one included, and it's always there, it's always charged, and it's always ready to go. And then there's the speakers. While not the absolute best you can get on a Chromebook, that title seems like it's always going to rest with the Pixelbook Go, they are miles better than most. And that means when you're watching content on YouTube or Netflix on this great screen, the audio that goes along with it isn't going to be terrible. While it's not going to replace like dedicated speakers or something, these speakers do provide full sound with great stereo separation, and it's great for media or for gaming, and especially for video calls. Other niceties include the built-in camera shade up top, so you can be sure you've closed off the camera when you need to, USB Type-C ports on both sides, and a well-weighted hinge mechanism that feels solid and firm like when you're poking on the screen in clamshell mode, but then then can switch just as smoothly to the display, tint, and tablet modes when you need to. Look, I know I've just rattled off a bunch of good individual things about this Chromebook, but at the end of the day, there are other Chromebooks that could technically meet these same exact criteria. There's one final step that has to take place, and that's the part of the experience that we can't really put technical measurements on. It's the part that brings all the good pieces together and builds a solid user experience, and the ASUS Chromebook Flip CX5400 gets that more right than most. Specs are needed for great Chromebooks, there's no doubting that, but getting all of that good stuff to come together and make one solid experience takes something else, that immeasurable thing, that undefined quality that just makes you truly enjoy using something. The Flip CX5400 has that thing, and pairing it up to all these other superlatives, it just makes this a Chromebook I have no issue in saying is my go-to favorite device in the office right now. I fully expect that place to be taken by one of these stellar Chromebooks that are coming in 2022, but for now, the Flip CX5400 is staying in my bag, and every time I get it out to use, I'm pretty happy about that. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there and hit that subscribe button, and be sure and ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Till next time, we'll see you.